Now, don't get me wrong, I love the current design of the LEGO Snowspeeder that they've been using for the past 20 years. The 2013 Battle of Hoth and the original Wampa Cave were some of my very first LEGO Star Wars sets. I've got 2 of the 2014 Snowspeeders sitting on my shelf right now. If I didn't like this design, I wouldn't have bought them. The iconic design of the Snowspeeder that they started off using back in 2004 will probably forever be my favorite design. But I am also well aware that just because something is your favorite doesn't necessarily mean that it is objectively the best. I'm sure that just about any fan of the prequel trilogy, including me, would probably agree with that. And this extends to the current design of the LEGO Snowspeeder. If you don't agree with me now, then you'll probably agree with me by the end of the video. So what's wrong with the Snowspeeder, you may ask? Well, I have identified 2 major issues with the current design, and by major issues, I of course mean in the context of a LEGO set. So please do keep that in mind. I do not mean anyone offense by talking about something that I think would be cool for LEGO to do. I do recognize that at the end of the day, none of it really matters that much. I just thought that it might be a somewhat interesting topic to make a video about. So, with that out of the way, what are these 2 issues that I'm talking about? Well, the more minor of the 2 issues is that Snowspeeders aren't actually white. They are very much a dull, dusty gray color. I think that most people remember them as being white because of merchandise and fan art and stuff. I mean, in the movie, they're pretty clearly gray. It's just on some of the wider shots with the reflection of the snow that they appear white. And you can see this a lot better in the hangar scenes where there is no snow reflection to make them appear white. It's definitely a little trippy, but they are certainly gray. Which, on an amusing side note, that means that the original 1999 Snowspeeder was the most accurate color-wise. A simple color swap would surely be incredibly easy for the LEGO designers to do. Although, unlike the next thing that I'll bring up on this list, I don't think that this one is quite so necessary. I feel like toy versions of the Snowspeeder being white are a somewhat integral part of its identity. And plus, while I may not necessarily agree with the whole LEGO Star Wars is just a bunch of big gray ships mentality, I do see where they're coming from, and I think that a splash of white, while it may be inaccurate, it's still kind of nice to have a little bit of a breakup to the monotony. So, while the color isn't necessarily something that absolutely needs to change, I think that this next thing would be a very beneficial and welcome change. That, of course, being the shape of the front of the Snowspeeder. From 2004 to as recently as 2019, LEGO has been using this design for the front of the Snowspeeder, which is pretty objectively not the correct shape. So, like I said at the beginning, I love this design for the Snowspeeder, but I would love to see them update the design for a more accurate, sleeker shape. I can only imagine that the angles on this would be a nightmare to design at such a small scale, but they did it incredibly well on the Andor set, which is a fantastic set, by the way. And if they were talented enough to figure it out here, I have faith that they could figure it out on one of the most iconic Star Wars vehicles in history. And well, that's about it. A little bit of a shorter, more simple video for you guys today, but I hope that you enjoyed it nonetheless.